Hey, A&Pers, this is Dr. Jones checking in. This is ANP1, Lecture Test 3, Video 2. We're on page 3 of the note sets, and we are talking about the bone markings. And so here's a picture from the book of all the bone markings, and let's go through them a few at a time. So I'm in the way again. Now I'm out of the way again. All right, so parts that stick out. We have a process. This is a part that sticks out, or as I prefer to call it, a sticky outy part because it's more fun to say. A ramus is a part that sticks out from an angle. So here's your temporal process. Here's the ramus on the mandible. There are more processes, but not that many processes on the skull that we're learning. Okay, so opening is a foramen. Get the spelling on that right, because if you are a letter off on that and you're taking a test on Canvas, then the lab test will not tell that you're a letter off. It just knows that it's wrong. So it does need to be spelled correctly. Foramen, so for one singular, men plural. It's grammatically incorrect if that helps you to remember how to spell it better. Is a hole in the bone. A canal or a meatus are a hole through a thicker bit of bone. And none of these terms are interchangeable. So if it's the jugular foramen and you put jugular canal on the lab test, that is completely wrong. Not partial credit, that's just wrong. Okay, so a fissure is a long cleft like the superior orbital fissure, the banana in the eyeball. And a sinus is a hole in the bone normally filled with air. There's the ethmoidal sinus, the frontal sinus, and the sphenoidal sinus. And here you can see, here's a great shot of the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone. And there's the crista galli, and I drew over the cribriform plate, but it's in there, versus the vomer. See the vomer through the back? And look, you can even see the little palatine bone versus the palatine process of the maxillary bone. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. All right, and a sinus is normally filled with air unless you have like a sinus infection, and then the mucous membranes that line the inside of the sinus cavities are overactive and they're like pumping out mucus, and they like fill, they do open into like the nasal cavities, but they fill with air or fill with snot, and then like the pressure pushes on the bone and then it like pounds. Yeah, those of you who have sinus infections know exactly what I'm talking about. For the rest of you, yes, it sucks. That's how that works. All right, so these are areas of tendon or ligament attachment. So this is where other muscles or bones attach. A trochanter is a large rough bump, and we're learning the greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter on the femur. Tuberosity is a small rough bump. We're learning, yeah, the deltoid tuberosity, and then the radial tuberosity on the radius. Tubercle, I don't know if we're learning a tubercle in lab, but it's a small round bump. A crest, of course, you've got the iliac crest, the anterior superior iliac crest, posterior superior iliac crest, ASIS, PSIS, iliac crest. Spine, really, but anyway. A line is a low ridge like the linea aspera on the back of the femur. This is the front, but it's on the back. And then spine like a spinous process on the vertebrae. Okay. Joint surfaces are next. Head is a large round joint surface. You have a head on the femur and the humerus. The neck is the skinny part under the head. A condyle is a curved joint surface. We've got the medial and lateral condyles here on the femur. We also have condyles, the occipital condyles, where you get most of your Trochlea is the pulley that we find at the distal end of the humerus, where it articulates with the trochlear notch of the ulna. And then a facet is a small flat joint surface. There's a little patellar facet here, and all of those superior articular facets and inferior articular facets that we found in the vertebrae in lab. And indents. The fossa is a shallow indent, and a sulcus is a groove indent. So again, in the elbow, you've got the coronoid fossa on the front of the humerus, and the greater, bigger olecranon fossa. Oh, olecranon. I told you that story. You watched the lab videos, right? Yeah, go watch lab videos. And that's fossa is actually the olecranon fossa is a bigger fossa, so a shallow depression, an indentation. Okay. This was a very short video, but I'm going to try to do one-page videos throughout, and if I can stand it, just it's easier. It's not easier, but I think it'll work better. They're like, oh, there's a 6-minute drop-off, and after 6 minutes, people stop watching your videos. Like, I talk for an hour and a half at a time for 10 years. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, 6-minute videos. And you can't explain science in 6-minute bits, but okay, I'm trying. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. This has been ANP 1 Lecture Test 3 Video 2. Dr. J out.